Yes, my peoples, like everyone, I've heard the reports coming out of Australia. Whilst I understand many of you want my reaction on it, as this is an ongoing court case, I hope you guys can understand that I can't and won't be commenting on it publicly. So yeah, I've just come on here to basically let you know the reasons as to why I can't. Love.
You know, like when Chunks and Young Philly were like everywhere online, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they had that chemistry.
Yeah.
It felt so real. Like
Yeah.
you were just watching two best mates, you know, just messing around.
Totally.
But as I think we're going to find out today, the reality behind the videos was a lot more complicated.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because, I mean, what we're doing in this deep dive is we're kind of exploring this whole thing about the public face that people present, and then the reality of what's going on.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the source that we've got today really focuses in on Chunks' perspective on how this friendship started to come apart.
And it does make you think, like, especially with social media and stuff nowadays, everyone's curating this image, right?
Yeah.
So how much of it is real, especially when you're dealing with, like, online fame on that kind of scale?
Right. Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I think the thing that really comes through in the source material is that Chunks is he's a bit more kind of aware of that, perhaps, than Philly is. Yeah. Philly comes across as a much bolder personality.
Yeah.
Maybe even a bit reckless.
And that's, I mean, even just reading this, that phrase, like Philly's possessive mode.
It's almost like a switch flicks or something.
It does, yeah.
And suddenly, it's all about control then, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it all gets a bit
intense.
Yeah. And it's interesting, you know, because psychologically speaking, we tend to do this thing where we focus on internal things.
Right.
When we're explaining other people's behavior, you know, so it's like we're very quick to go, oh, well, Philly's just a possessive person.
Right.
Rather than thinking about, well, what are the external pressures that he's under, for example? Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's very easy to kind of judge, I think, when you're on the outside.
Absolutely.
Looking in. But I mean, imagine that pressure of like every single thing you do being analyzed by millions of people online.
And that's not to excuse Philly's behavior.
Of course not.
But to try and see it within that context, I guess, a little bit.
For sure.
The source material gives some really quite shocking examples, I thought.
Yeah.
Of how this possessive mode, as they put it, kind of manifested itself.
Yeah.
And, I mean, some of the jokes, particularly some of the jokes towards women.
Yeah.
You know, that really kind of set alarm bells ringing for me.
And it wasn't just the jokes.
Really not.
Like the source talks about this possessiveness kind of bleeding into like romantic relationships, like even other friendships.
Right.
And it's just like this need to control everything around him.
Yeah. It's almost like people were only there to sort of uphold his image.
And I think that's where it starts to get like a little bit murky, right? Because on the surface, it's all, you know, like confidence and, you know.
Yeah, bravado.
Yeah, bravado.
Yeah.
But actually for the people around him, it must have been really, really difficult.
Yeah, totally. It's a lot of pressure, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the source really kind of picks up on that, you know, how this pressure cooker atmosphere starts to kind of impact on the friendship and Chunks, rather than kind of having it out with Philly, which I think a lot of people probably would have done.
Yeah.
He makes this decision to sort of step back a bit.
Which honestly, when you put it like that, it does make a lot of sense because like, can you imagine if like a public argument between these two had happened?
It would have been like a whole thing, wouldn't it?
It would have been huge. Like everyone would have been
front page news.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, fair play to him for kind of recognizing that, I guess.
Yeah, it shows real kind of like self-awareness, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That he recognized the kind of the potential damage that could be done. You know, if
definitely.
If it all blew up.
And it's like literal that thing of like don't set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm.
Oh yeah. That's a good way of putting it, actually.
Right. Like he's recognized. Okay, there are some red flags here. Maybe I should protect myself a little bit, which again, not easy to do, right?
No, and actually
especially in like an industry where it's all about like, you know.
It's all about loyalty, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got your boy, like all of that.
It's true, yeah.
And so to actually be like, no, actually, for me, I need to step away. I think that's like a whole other level of like strength almost to be able to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
And what's mad is as well is that he wasn't like,
yeah,
he wasn't just like passively stepping back, you know what I mean? He was like, he was using that time to be like, right, okay,
yeah,
what do I want to do? Like, what are my own things?
Totally.
Like, where's my career going?
Yeah, he was focusing on other friendships within the industry, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was
like really kind of like taking control of it.
Absolutely. And I think that's where, that's where you really see the strength, I think, in Chunks' personality.
Yeah.
Because it's not about being sort of, the loudest one in the room or, the one that's always got to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
It's about kind of having that self-awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
To go, do you know what? I actually need to sort of look after myself here,
Yeah.
I need to do what's right for me.
Yeah, 100%. And it's almost like even though he's doing that and he is stepping away.
Yeah.
The source material is saying that. Like what happened eventually was kind of like
almost inevitable, wasn't it?
Really.
It's like this kind of, like fuse had been lit and it was kind of slowly burning its way down and it all came to a head at this after party and and the details of it are a bit sort of sketchy from what we can gather, but but you definitely get this picture of Philly's behavior being pretty erratic, really.
Like all that stuff, it's like it all kind of boils over.
It all comes out, doesn't it? Yeah. And
and suddenly it's like it's not little cracks anymore, is it?
Yep.
It's like it's all
out there. Yeah, out there. And I guess, it's again easy to judge,
of course,
someone's actions when you see something like that happen. But I think this is where, that fundamental attribution error thing comes into play again, doesn't it? Because we simply don't know,
of course,
what else was going on in his life.
Exactly, yeah.
What pressures he was under. Yeah. And
it's not about saying who's right or wrong. It's just this is what happened.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think what comes through really strongly as well in this section of the source is that they clearly just had different thresholds for what was acceptable.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
And we all do, don't we? Like, I mean, what one person might find kind of, a minor annoyance or a bit of a
exactly,
a bit of a niggle. Yeah, someone else would be like, well, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah, it's like 100% deal breaker.
Yeah.
And it just goes back to those
totally, and it's all about
boundaries,
isn't it?
It is, isn't it? It really, really is.
And what I thought was interesting is like after this big like public incident, the source talks about Chunks' silence. Like he doesn't say anything.
Right.
He doesn't.
Which again, I think in the age of social media,
huge.
It speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It really does.
That he hasn't immediately jumped online and gone, well, this, that, and the other.
Yeah, or tried to defend himself.
Exactly, yeah.
Or like throw him under the bus even more.
Yeah. He's rising above it, isn't he?
And it makes you think, doesn't it? Like us as people online, we are so quick to...
we're so quick to judge, aren't we?
Yeah.
Jump on something, give our opinion, when in reality we've probably
we've had no idea.
Seen 1%
exactly,
of the actual story. And
and I think that Chunks' silence, it's really powerful actually, because it shows that he's kind of prioritizing those personal boundaries, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he's not getting sort of sucked into all of that online drama.
100%. And it's respectful as well, right? Because it's it's everyone's going through their own stuff, so it's like, okay, you deal with your stuff, I'll deal with mine, and
maybe that's the kindest thing you can do sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is to sort of step back and go, right, you do your thing.
Yeah. It's like proper strength, isn't it?
Oh, totally.
To not try and control that narrative.
Absolutely.
To be like, okay, everyone can think what they want.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get involved.
And especially, I think, When you've got that many people
I know
looking at you, commenting, judging,
it's hard.
Yeah, to not react.
Yeah.
And I think that that really speaks to like a maturity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That that maybe kind of, we could all kind of aspire to a little bit, because
it's not about being like passive, is it?
No, exactly. Yeah.
It's not about like letting people walk all over you. It's about knowing when.
Sometimes it's the healthiest thing, isn't it? Just to go, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
step back from this.
Step back. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'm gonna create a bit of distance here. Yeah.
Create that space and focus on yourself.
And I think, what this story really highlights for me is that friendships, they're not static things, are they? Like they're always evolving. They're changing, and sometimes that means,
growing apart. Yeah, which is hard, but it's like you said, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
And this is what I thought was kind of like the biggest takeaway for me was like, this wasn't about like, Chunks like ditching the friend.
Absolutely not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was about him recognizing like what he was like okay with.
Totally.
And not okay with.
Yeah, exactly. And having those boundaries, doesn't it? It all comes back to those boundaries.
Yeah.
And going, actually, you know what? This is what I'm prepared to accept.
Yeah.
And this isn't,
that takes some guts though, doesn't it?
100%. Especially when, on the surface of it, like they were,
killing it.
Yeah, they were like at the top of their game, weren't they? Really?
Yeah.
And to sort of walk away from something like that takes real strength. Yeah.
And I think it like just again reminds you that sometimes things aren't always as they seem, are they?
No, exactly. Like behind that kind of perfect facade.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's always more to it, isn't there?
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Always. And I think for me anyway, it's just like makes you think about like your own friendships, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And be like, actually, are there...
It makes you question things a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like, are there places where maybe compromising my own... Yeah, 100%. I think that's a really good sort of note to end this deep dive on, really, because it's it's all very well and good us sort of sitting here talking about kind of Chunks in Philly and all the rest of it, but actually,
it's relevant to everyone.
It is. It's relevant to everyone, isn't it? Like we've all had friendships that maybe haven't worked out quite how we thought they would, or maybe we've even been that friend sometimes, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely.
That has been a bit too, controlling, or a bit too possessive.
Yeah, without realizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's just about, like you said, like
it is,
having that self-awareness to kind of be like,
and the courage as well, isn't it? To sometimes go, do you know what? I need to step away. Yeah. For my own kind of well-being,
Yeah, and sometimes even if it's hard, like that is the kindest thing.
It is,
that you can do for yourself and for the other person. So
100%.
Yeah, I think on that note,
I think so. Yeah.
Leave people with that.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Some food for thought there.
The next time they're scrolling through Instagram.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Seeing everyone's
lives.
Perfect little lives, and thinking, God, everyone's got it so easy,
Yeah. Just remember Chunks in Philly, guys.
Exactly.
Just remember, there's always something.
Always more to the story.
More to it.
Always,
than meets the eye.
100%.
I just want to talk about this, and here's my side of the story. Now, before we start, obviously I don't want to air personal business. That's private. We were speaking last year, can't give you really time frames, and rekindled at Misfits. I actually know Philly, so at least the people that are watching this can have something based on someone that actually knows him, and not people speculating and just know him from seeing him on the internet and Girth and Turf. Philly is someone that I know and get on with, right, okay? I'm not here to say things did or didn't happen. All I'm here to say, to tell you even, is my side of the story. My experiences with Philly made me feel comfortable. When we rekindled, this year, there was actually, I'm going to make a point of saying this, there was a point where he was like, if you don't want to do anything, if you don't want to, bear in mind, we'd spoken last year, we'd been seeing each other last year, and even then he was like, if you don't want to do anything, if you're not comfortable, we don't have to. I just want to make a point of, he's never made me feel any pressure, and I think until we've got definitive answers to the question, I'm not discrediting what's happened. I don't know the ins and outs, and probably neither do you. I'm just here to give a balanced side of the story, you know what I mean? Just give you someone that's actually knows him, my side. I don't owe him anything either, you know, he's not asking me to do this, no one's pressuring me to do this. I just want to just say, let's all just calm down for a second until we know all the ins and outs. And my personal experience is that he was fine with me.
So feeling online like, whoa, everyone's rushing to judgment.
Yeah, definitely.
Today's deep dive throws us right into that whirlwind.
Oh, this is going to be good.
We're looking at young Philly. You familiar?
Yeah, the online personality, right?
Yeah, facing some serious accusations.
Right, right.
And we've got a stack of sources for you, news articles, social media buzz, even video testimony.
Wow.
But there's one voice that's really caught my eye.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
The ex-girlfriend's statement.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's got everyone talking.
Now, this isn't just any ex popping up. She chose to stay anonymous their whole relationship. Never a photo, never a name out there.
Really?
And now she breaks her silence.
Wow. It makes you wonder
Yeah.
what brought her to this point.
Right.
It's certainly a choice, putting yourself out there like that.
And her message is clear. The young Philly she knew doesn't match these accusations.
Interesting.
She paints their relationship as, and I'm using her words here, respectful, caring, supportive. But instead of just taking her word for it, I dug into the sources a bit. Did any details from their time together stand out to you? Like, does anything back that up?
That's a great question. While she doesn't go into specific anecdotes in the video, one article I came across mentioned they were together for over 2 years.
Wow.
And even after the breakup, she remained supportive of his career from a distance.
I didn't catch that.
That longevity and even post-relationship support might lend some weight to her claims.
That's a good point. It's not just what she's saying, but the context around it. Now, she doesn't shy away from the seriousness of the accusations.
Right.
She even says if he did something wrong, he deserves consequences. But then she adds this line that really struck me. My experience is only one perspective, and the truth is likely more complicated.
And that's where things get really interesting. She's acknowledging that there are multiple truths at play here, something we often forget in the age of social media.
It's like everyone wants that quick, easy answer, guilty or not guilty. But she's reminding us that real life is way more nuanced than a tweet.
It's like the classic blind man and the elephant story. Each person touches a different part, experiences a different aspect, and thinks they know the whole truth. But none of them have the full picture.
And it's easy to forget we're dealing with a whole person here, with their own history and complexities. Like, we see a headline, a social media post, and we think we've got them figured out.
It's that fundamental attribution error at play. We tend to overemphasize personality over situational factors, so we assume someone's behavior reflects who they are at their core, rather than considering external pressures, unseen circumstances.
So in young Philly's case, we latch onto these accusations and maybe ignore the years of content he's built, the relationships he might have, all the stuff we don't see.
Precisely. And that's where the danger of the online court of public opinion comes in. People rush to judge based on fragmented information, often fueled by emotions and algorithms.
And she calls this out directly, doesn't she? She talks about the unique pressures of being in the public eye, the constant scrutiny.
She does. And it reminds me of other high-profile cases where public figures were vilified online, only for more information to come out later, painting a more complicated picture.
It's a good reminder that there's often more to the story than we initially see. Even with all the information available in our digital age, like, we can be so quick to categorize someone as good or bad, guilty or innocent.
And that's where her plea for a more measured approach really resonates. She's not saying to dismiss the accusations, but rather to resist that knee-jerk reaction, that rush to judgment we see so often online.
It's like that old saying, everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind. Always. But it's easier said than done, especially when we're scrolling through social media and everyone's got an opinion.
Absolutely. And that's where our own critical thinking comes in. She's not asking us to blindly believe her, but rather to be mindful of our own biases, to acknowledge that we might not have the full picture.
So how do we do that? How do we navigate this world of conflicting accounts and strong opinions while staying informed, but also being fair?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's about cultivating a healthy skepticism, a willingness to seek out diverse perspectives, and accepting that sometimes ambiguity is the closest we'll get to the truth.
It's like that old saying, don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Exactly. Yet here we are, constantly bombarded with information, often presented in a way designed to evoke strong emotional responses.
It's easy to get caught up in the outrage or the drama, especially when it feels like everyone else is picking sides. But the ex-girlfriend's statement, regardless of what we ultimately believe about the accusations against young Philly, offers a valuable lesson.
It's a reminder that behind the headlines, the social media posts, the viral videos, there are real people with real lives, real complexities.
She even specifically says at one point, don't let the noise drown out the human element in all of this.
It's a powerful statement in a world that often seems determined to simplify complex issues into easily digestible narratives.
And she's right, isn't she? There's always more to the story than meets the eye. And maybe, just maybe, instead of rushing to judgment, we should be asking ourselves more questions.
Questions like, what don't I know about this situation? Or, what perspectives am I missing?
Those are questions we should be asking ourselves all the time, not just in high-profile cases like this one.
Absolutely. It's about approaching every situation, every interaction, with a certain degree of humility and open-mindedness.
Easier said than done, right? But it's something to strive for. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the importance of perspective, I think the biggest takeaway for me is this. Let's all try to be a little more thoughtful, a little more skeptical, and a lot more human in how we process information and form opinions.
Beautifully said. And remember, just because something is trending or someone has a strong opinion online doesn't make it true. Take a breath, seek out diverse viewpoints, and don't be afraid to embrace a little ambiguity.
Because sometimes the most important answers are found not in the loud pronouncements, but in the quiet spaces between the noise, where we allow ourselves to think critically, listen empathetically, and acknowledge the messy, complicated reality of the world around us. And it's easy to forget we're dealing with a whole person here, with their own history and complexities. Like, we see a headline, a social media post, and we think we've got them figured out.
It's that, what's it called? The fundamental attribution error at play.
Right.
We jump to judging someone's personality without thinking about, the situation, external pressures, all that.
So in young Philly's case, we latch on to these accusations and maybe ignore what? Years of content he's built, relationships, all that stuff we don't see.
Exactly. And that's the whole danger of this online court of public opinion, right? People rush to judge based on like a tiny piece of the puzzle.
Fueled by emotions, algorithms, it's a mess.
Totally.
And, she even calls us out directly. She talks about the pressures of being in the public eye, that constant scrutiny.
Yeah, and it makes you think about other cases, where public figures get totally dragged online.
Oh, tons of them.
And then later on, more info comes out, and it's like, whoa, way more complicated.
It's a good reminder that there's always more to the story. Even with all the info we have now, it's so easy to just put people in a box, good or bad, guilty or innocent.
And that's where her call for a more measured approach is so important. Like, she's not saying to ignore the accusations, but just pump the brakes a little,
Right.
Resist that urge to immediately judge.
It's like that saying, everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about, be kind. But man, is that hard online. Everyone's got opinion ready to fire.
For sure. And that's where our own critical thinking has to come in. She's not saying believe me no matter what, but just be aware of your own biases, right? We might not have the full picture.
So, how do we do that? How do we navigate this world of hot takes and strong opinions, but still, be informed and be fair?
That's the million-dollar question. It's about cultivating healthy skepticism, seeking out different viewpoints, and accepting that sometimes we just won't have a clear-cut answer.
It's like that old saying, don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Exactly. Yet here we are, constantly bombarded with information. It's like designed to make us react.
Oh, totally. It's easy to get caught up in the outrage, the drama, especially when it feels like everyone's picking a side. But the ex-girlfriend's statement,
Yeah.
It really makes you think.
No matter what you end up thinking about the accusations against young Philly, she makes a good point.
Right.
There are real people behind all of this.
Yeah.
Behind the headlines, the posts, the videos.
It's easy to forget that when you're scrolling.
For sure.
She even says at one point, and I wrote this down, don't let the noise drown out the human element in all of this.
Wow. That's powerful.
Right.
In a world that wants to make everything black and white, simple.
Good or bad, right or wrong. And she's right. There's always more to the story. Maybe instead of jumping to conclusion, we should be asking more questions.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, like, what don't I know about this? Or what perspectives am I missing?
Oh, those are good.
Right. We should be asking those all the time, not just in these big dramatic cases.
Totally. It's about approaching everything, everyone, with humility, open-mindedness.
Harder than it sounds, though.
Oh, for sure.
So as we wrap up, thinking about the importance of perspective, the biggest takeaway for me is let's be a little more thoughtful, a little more skeptical, and a lot more human, like in how we process all this information and form our opinions.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
And remember, just because something's trending, blowing up online, doesn't make it true.
Yeah.
Take a breath. Look for different viewpoints. And don't be afraid of a little uncertainty.
Because sometimes the real answers, they're not in the shouting matches. They're in those quiet moments when we actually think for ourselves. When we listen to each other. And when we remember that the world is messy and complicated. That's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Hello, chat. Okay. First thing I'm going to say, mods, good luck at the minute. Okay. Second thing I'm going to say, 11,000 viewers in 1 minute. You sick. Where the f have you all been? Where the f have you all been? Right? Now, I'm not going to pretend nothing's happened overnight. I'm going to be open and honest, as I always am. Where'd you start? 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm laying in bed. Right? See what's going on Twitter. First of all, I'm the exact same as yous. I'm shocked. Yeah, you know, mental. But he's now obviously involved in legal proceedings. I cannot comment on legal proceedings. Yeah, you know it is. Mad. 17,000. I didn't even get this on GNT before it. It's crazy. But no, chat. Honestly, I can't comment on legal proceedings. I don't know anything more. I know the exact same as you. I know what's been put out in the news. I don't know anything more. Please don't think I do. And it is what it is. We have to just wait for the final verdict. Yous will all make your own opinions and whatever, and that's fine. But I think the next big question, GNT. If you want my honest answer, I don't know its future. I don't know its future at the minute. Right? We'll see what we can do, but at the minute, I don't know. And that's all I'm going to say. There's not much else I can say other than everyone at GNT is in the exact same boat as you. We only know what you know. And that's that. Fucking hell. And that is that. So yeah. H for 49. Listen. When it comes to it, we'll come to it. Listen, you're all going to spam it. I'm fully aware of what's gone on for today and everyone else's streams. Mods, do your best. I'm not asking any more. If you can, you can. We'll try non-sub only. Give it 30 seconds, see what happens. Right? But yeah, you've been here since 3, and you're part of the sad fucks. But yeah, it is what it is, man. We gotta fucking crack on. And that's life. What more to say? I appreciate the support and the love, chat. Thank you. But one thing I will say as well is people are asking for club statements and shit like that.
This is bigger than Girth and Turf. This isn't no pro clubs team. This is serious shit. And there ain't going to be no club statement. There ain't going to be fuck all. Right? What's going to happen is going to happen. Let it all plan out. That's all we have to say.
Ever notice how, like, sports can be kind of like life sometimes?
Yeah, totally.
1 minute you're up, celebrating a win, feeling that, that team spirit.
Right.
And then, bam, next thing you know, something unexpected hits, like, rocks the foundation of, like, everything you thought you knew.
It really makes you question things,
And that's what we're kind of diving into today. It's about, well, the human side of this game, the loyalty, those bonds you build.
Those are strong bonds.
And how those bonds, how they get tested when life throws you a curveball.
It's fascinating how these situations really highlight the unspoken agreements between, like, fans and teams.
Yeah, like we're all in this together.
Exactly. Riding those highs and lows is one.
And right now, fans of Girth and Turf, they are definitely on that roller coaster, man.
So deaf.
For anyone who maybe hasn't been glued to the sport lately,
Sure.
Girth and Turf, this is like the electric football club, known for, just bringing the energy on the field.
And off the field, their camaraderie is legendary.
Totally. Tight-knit group. And a huge part of that energy,
Let me guess.
comes from their co-founder, young Philly.
Ah, young Philly. Everyone knows Philly.
But, and this is the big but, recent allegations against Philly have left, well, pretty much everyone wondering, what happens now? What happens to the team, the fans, that spirit?
Yeah, it goes beyond just another sports scandal, doesn't it?
Right.
This is about shared passion,
Yeah.
the trust that holds it all together.
Exactly. It's a very human question. What happens when that trust is broken?
Tough one.
And to really unpack this whole thing, we got to dive deep
Love a good deep dive.
into the words of someone who's, well, he's both a leader and a friend in all this. Angry Ginge.
Ah, Ginge. Now we're talking.
Now, Ginge, for those not familiar, he's the other half of that Girth and Turf founding duo.
Quite the pair, those two.
And he is known for that fiery personality. Yeah. On the field, off the field, it doesn't matter. But his recent statement, it was different, wasn't it?
Night and day. This wasn't the usual fiery Ginge we're used to. There was like a vulnerability there.
For sure.
Real uncertainty about the future. Yeah. You could hear it in his voice.
Remember that clip where he says, the truth is we don't know what's going to happen?
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't like for show. That's Ginge, man. Grappling with the potential loss of something he poured his heart into.
And let's not forget, Girth and Turf, they weren't just built on pure talent, right?
No way.
There was a foundation there. Friendship. Shared ideals. Ginge himself said it was about mates, about a shared belief. This isn't just about the game anymore.
That was way deeper.
It strikes at the core of everything they built.
And that's where things get really interesting. Because Ginge, he's walking this tightrope now. On one hand, he's totally adamant about not, like, commenting on the allegations themselves.
Smart move, legally speaking.
Right. But then on the other hand, he's got this whole team, these fans, who are, like, desperate for some kind of reassurance.
A masterclass in crisis management, if you ask me.
Totally.
He's protecting himself legally, but also trying to reassure everyone, like, hey, I'm still here. I'm still leading.
He even said, and I quote, all I can do is focus on what I can control, and right now that's making sure we keep moving forward, however that looks. I mean, come on, you can practically hear the gears turning. What does moving forward even look like without Philly? Without that core group?
$1 million question right there.
Right.
This is where reading between the lines of Ginge's statement gets really interesting. Because he drops these little hints, phrases, suggesting some serious decisions are being made behind the scenes.
Like when he keeps saying tough decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, fans have got to be wondering, right? Are we talking like roster shakeups, salary caps?
Oh, even bigger, maybe?
Oh, what?
The S word?
Oh, what?
Sponsorships?
Oh, right. Can't forget about that whole side of things.
A huge part of it.
Yeah.
And Girth and Turf whole thing, their brand, built on that idea of like authenticity, genuine friendship. And well, that's powerful stuff for sponsors.
For sure. Everyone loves a good, like, friendship story.
But it also means those same sponsors, they're going to be way more sensitive to, well, anything that tarnishes that.
Right. Like if the friendship is like fake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about image.
It's like their whole, what was it, Why We Play campaign?
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
That just got a whole lot more complicated.
Definitely does. And fans might be surprised by how much, like, a team's survival really comes down to those sponsorship deals.
Really? I wouldn't have thought it'd be that serious.
Oh, yeah. Big money in those deals. So, if sponsors get cold feet, Ginge is, well, he's in an impossible position financially.
Makes sense.
So when he says tough decisions, he's not just talking about the game. He's talking about people's livelihoods, the whole future of everyone involved.
Wow. Didn't think about it like that.
It's high stakes, man.
And then there's that whole like transparency thing he keeps saying. He knows he can't like leave fans hanging forever.
Nope, not a chance.
Yeah.
Not keep that trust intact.
Right. Even if the news isn't what they want to hear.
Exactly. And again, goes back to that authenticity.
Right.
Girth and Turf. Always been about that honesty, even when it's, well, uncomfortable.
Yeah. Not like those other clubs.
Right. This isn't some like faceless corporation, you know. This is a group of guys who built something special together.
Yeah. True.
And important part is that includes the fans.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So when Ginge says, you know, be patient, he's basically saying, look, we'll figure this out together.
Yeah. Right.
But that also means being upfront about the challenges.
Honesty. Even when it hurts.
The best policy, they say.
And I guess part of that whole, like, figuring it out means asking for something, well, most sports fans aren't exactly known for.
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
When he says, be patient, it tells me there's, like, options still on the table, things happening behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah. Definitely not done yet.
Right. He's buying time, which, I don't know, that tells me he's not throwing in the towel just yet.
Exactly. Big difference between, like, this is the end and we don't know what's going to happen.
Totally different vibe.
That little sliver of hope, that willingness to, like, fight for what they built.
Yeah.
That resonates with people.
Big time. And that brings us to, well, the fans themselves. Talk about a roller coaster of emotions, man.
Oh, yeah, they're going through it.
Our sources, we've got everything from, like, diehard loyalty, the Girth and Turf Till I Die crowd,
You got to respect that dedication.
to folks who are just, like, heartbroken, confused, not sure who or what to believe anymore.
Can't blame them. It's a lot to process.
It really is. And it makes you wonder, you know, like, how much does the identity of a team really rest on the individuals?
It's a big question.
Can you separate the art from the artist, so to speak?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Like, if Girth and Turf goes on without Philly, is it still Girth and Turf?
Now, that's the question that keeps, like, sports ethicists up at night, you know?
You're kidding.
Serious debate right there. And no easy answer. Because it's not just about, like, names on a jersey. It's about the whole story we tell ourselves about those names.
Yeah.
That emotional connection.
It's like you're not just cheering for the goal. You're cheering for, like, the underdog who made the goal, the friend who, like, made you believe in the first place.
Exactly. And when that image is, you know, shattered, it makes you question everything.
Yeah. Like, was it all fake?
Right. Tough pill to swallow for any fan.
Brutal. It's like finding out your favorite band. Their music was all, like, ghost-written.
Oof. Yeah, that's rough. Or that feel-good movie of the year, the director. Well, let's just say there were some issues.
You start to question everything, you know?
That makes you wonder, like, what can you even believe in anymore?
Throws a real wrench into things. And honestly, that's what makes Ginge's position right now so fascinating, so precarious. He's not just trying to salvage a team, right? He's trying to salvage an ideal.
Whoa. That's deep. And that's a much heavier lift.
No kidding. So, like, if you were Ginge,
Okay, put me in the hot seat.
what gets priority? Loyalty to Philly, honesty with the fans, even if it's bad news? Or is it about protecting the, like, bigger dream, the future of Girth and Turf, no matter who's on the field?
$1 million question, really.
Yeah.
And one without any easy answers because, you know, each one of those, loyalty, honesty, the future, they're all so intertwined.
Totally.
Can't really have one without the others, can you?
So, like, I don't know, juggling chainsaws while riding a unicycle on a tightrope.
Graham, don't even put that image out there.
When wrong move and
Catastrophe. But yeah, in the middle of all this, all the uncertainty, the speculation, there's this one line from Ginge's statement that I keep going back to.
Good one.
He says, I don't believe this is the end of Girth and Turf.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. And all that, like, somber reflection,
Yeah.
he throws in that little spark of defiance.
Right. It might seem like, you know, just a small thing.
Yeah.
But in the face of so much doubt,
Yeah.
that belief, that refusal to give up,
It's
it's
period.
huge.
Especially for the fans. Like, okay, We don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
But we know Ginge is still in there fighting for his team.
Right.
For that whole dream they built. That's got to count for something. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this whole story so compelling. Reminds us that even in pro sports, with all the money, the fame, the whatever,
it's still a human game, right?
It comes down to those human emotions, loyalty, hope, that desire to just believe in something bigger than ourselves.
That whole against all odds spirit, that's what sports fans live for.
Exactly.
And right now, Girth and Turf fans, they're clinging to that little sliver of hope that Ginge gave them.
And, you know, that's something we can all relate to. Sports fan or not, life throws those curveballs, tests you. But it's that flicker of hope, that belief that, hey, things can get better.
Yeah.
That's what lets us keep moving forward, however that looks.
Well said. Well said. So anyone listening, die-hard Girth and Turf fan, just a casual observer, or hey, maybe you're just into the human drama. However you got here.
We're glad you're here.
We want to hear from you. Hit us up on the socials. Let us know, what would you prioritize if you were Ginge? How important is the who behind your favorite team? Let's keep this conversation going.
Because, hey, as we've seen today, sometimes those unexpected challenges, they lead to the best conversations.
Truth. And on that note, that's a wrap on another deep dive. Until next time, keep asking those tough questions, keep seeking those deeper truths, and keep diving deep.
Planned on saying anything at all. It's only because of what's come out now that I feel like I should have said something in the past, and I should say something now. 4 years ago, I spoke to a young filly on Instagram DM. He DM'd me, and I ended up going to his flat. Him and his management, they worked very hard to manipulate me, obviously me when I was 17, and to make me feel like if I said anything, then they could ruin my life would be over, you know, it'd be awful for me, awful for my mental health. So they convinced me to stay quiet. And right now I just feel awful because I feel like, in light of what's happened to this poor woman in Australia, maybe it could have been prevented if I'd said something before. I was 17, and when it first happened, the incident, I didn't have anyone to talk to about it. I was very alone, and I was very embarrassed, and I literally didn't know what to do. I didn't want to talk about it then, and to be honest, I don't want to talk about it now. I don't want to go into details. It's embarrassing and it's horrible to relive it. However, I also don't want him to get away with this.
Okay, so we're diving into a tough one today. This whole young Villy situation, it's blown up online and, you know, everyone's seen the headlines, but we're going deeper. We're looking at this source, pasted text. And it's an account from one of Philly's exes. And it gets really disturbing. Not just the abuse allegations, but the accusations against his management team, too.
Yeah, it's certainly, yeah, it really makes you question the systems in place, you know, like, is someone's safety being sacrificed to protect a celebrity image? That's a tough one.
Right. And that's what we're trying to unpack here. So in this pasted text, his ex, she really goes into detail. What were your takeaways from her testimony? What stood out?
Well, one thing that really struck me was the way she describes the alleged escalation, how it supposedly went from like subtle emotional manipulation, you know, controlling behavior to, and then eventually to physical violence, which sadly, that's a pretty classic pattern in these situations in abusive relationships.
It's that whole thing where it makes it so hard to even recognize what's happening, you know, let alone actually speaking out about it. And that's where, for me at least, her accusations about his management, that's where it got really scary. Because she's basically clumping they knew about it the whole time.
Yeah.
About the alleged abuse, and that they were actively trying to cover it up.
And that's what makes this go from an individual failing to, like, a potentially systemic issue, you know? This idea that, at least according to her, according to pasted text, that they were using their power and resources to silence her.
It's like, can you imagine being in that situation?
Yeah.
feeling that trapped and afraid to speak up, and then having all these powerful people allegedly using their resources to silence you, it's terrifying.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember we're dealing with allegations here, right?
Yeah.
Young Philly maintains his innocence, and as of right now, no charges have been filed, but still. This scenario, even just the allegations, it raises some really important questions about the lengths some management teams might go to protect their client's image, potentially at any cost.
And you see it already, the impact. Brands are cutting ties left and right. His team's in full damage control mode. But this source, this pasted text, it makes you think about the potential legal ramifications too. If this is all true, where do we go from here, legally speaking?
Yeah, I mean, if these claims end up being proven true, you're looking at possible criminal investigations, civil suits. It's already tough to prove abuse allegations, but then you add this whole other layer of alleged involvement from the management team, a potential cover-up. That complicates things a lot. It's important to remember, we're still in the allegations phase. This is all under investigation. Young Philly says he's innocent, and like you said, right, no charges or anything yet. But this whole thing, it brings up a lot of stuff about the entertainment industry, like how they handle these situations. We've seen similar things before.
Right. Sadly, this isn't the first time, and it probably won't be the last, right? But it's interesting to me how fast people jumped on this, like Young Philly. Like brands cutting ties already. Way faster than usual, it seems like. Do you think social media is playing into that?
Oh, for sure. Social media has changed everything. People are more aware now of these types of issues. And anything even remotely scandalous can just blow up overnight, go viral. And these brands, they know that. They don't want to get caught up in that.
Makes sense. It makes you think about reading this pasted text. It makes you think about those power dynamics between these young stars like Young Philly and the management teams behind them. Like, it's got to be so easy when you're that age, caught up in the fame and all that, to be manipulated or controlled.
Totally. That's a really good point. You've got someone young, suddenly in the spotlight, tons of pressure, and they're surrounded by these people who are, let's face it, financially invested in their success. The lines can get blurred really easily in those situations.
For sure. And then you wonder about, like, how much control these managers really have, Because if what pasted text is saying is true, they weren't just aware of the alleged abuse, they were covering it up. That's a whole other level of messed up.
And it creates this culture, right? If that's how it really works, where the people in charge are either cool with this behavior or worse, actively hiding it, then victims are going to be terrified to come forward. Like, what's the point, right? It's like it sends this message that their brand, their bottom line is more important than people's well-being.
Yeah. And that's the part that's so disturbing to me. It feels like this whole Young Philly thing, it's like, if true, it feels like a symptom of something much bigger. Like, we need a complete overhaul of the whole system, of how this industry treats people.
I agree. It has to start with changing the culture, for sure. Making respect a priority, accountability, transparency. We need to create an environment where people feel safe coming forward, sharing their stories, without being afraid.
Okay, so how do we do that? Like, practically speaking, what needs to happen for that to actually change within the industry?
Well, for starters, there has to be a zero-tolerance policy for any kind of abuse or harassment. And not just like on paper, right? We need actual consequences for anyone who violates that, no matter who they are or how powerful they think they are.
That makes sense. But then also there needs to be more support for the people who do speak up.
Right.
They need to know that people will have their back, that they'll be heard and believed.
100%, yeah.
Oh.
We need like a solid support system,
Yeah.
access to legal help, counseling, people who can advocate for them, just so they know they're not alone in this, that there are people fighting for them.
Man, it's a lot, This whole thing, this deep dive into Young Philly and pasted text, it really makes you think about some dark stuff, like about the entertainment industry as a whole.
It does, yeah. And it makes you realize, like, this isn't just Hollywood, right? This stuff, this abuse of power, silencing victims, it's everywhere. All kinds of industries, all kinds of institutions. It's a human problem, not just an entertainment one.
Exactly. And that's what's so unsettling about it all.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you question everything, reading pasted text. It made me wonder, are we, like all of us, the fans, are we part of the problem? By supporting these artists, these celebrities, without thinking about their actions? Are we enabling this to keep happening?
It's a question worth asking, for sure, yeah. We all have a responsibility to be, more aware, I guess, about who we're supporting, why, where our money's going, our attention, our time.
So where do we even go from here? Like, what can any of us do to actually make a difference, to make this stop happening?
I think awareness is the first step, honestly. Like, stay informed about these situations, keep talking about them, don't let them just fade away, you know? And then take that awareness and let it guide your choices. Support the people, the organizations that are trying to do better, that are fighting for change.
It's about making our voices heard.
Yeah.
Not letting these stories be silenced.
Yeah.
And challenging the people in charge to do better.
Right.
Because when we stay silent, the only people we're protecting are the abusers.
Exactly. And change, real change, it takes time, you know? It's not going to happen overnight. But if we keep talking about these issues, if we refuse to accept things as they are, then we have a chance to build something better.
This whole thing, this deep dive into young Philly and everything in pasted text, it's been rough, I'm not going to lie. But if even one good thing comes out of this, I hope it's that we all start demanding more. More accountability from the people in charge, more support for the victims, and a commitment to making the entertainment industry, all industries really, a safer place for everyone. Thanks for sticking with us on this, and remember, your voice matters. Don't be afraid to use it.
I feel bad for Ginge. It'll be bad for him. I have seen it. Yeah, I have seen it. It'll be bad for Ginge. People will be all over that tomorrow. I'll say what I've said before. I'm not going to throw someone who's a friend under the bus just by reading one part to it. That's how it goes. Yeah, look, I've seen Twitter, and again, politely, I don't want to discuss things like that because, and also again though, without context and more information, I'm not going to throw someone I consider a friend under the bus. I'm not like that, so. Right, 73W, I'm going to tell you this really politely, mate, right? Firstly, I can do what the fuck I want because it's my stream. Secondly, I don't have to talk about whatever I want. Thirdly, and I'll say it to you in the most polite possible way, right? Again, I'm going to be polite with you here, okay? Again, if I wanted to be a cunt, I would do what most people would do and go, oh, I'm never speaking to him again. This is disgusting. But unfortunately, because I'm a fucking man and I'm strong enough to mentally to make a decision on my own.
Well, let me give you my take on it, then you're going to go, because I know you got a lot to say. When I first saw this, I was like, famous guy, successful, has some money. Like, this is bullshit, right? Like, there's a high likelihood that it's a lie. But I don't know anymore. I really don't know. I mean, I'm going to assume innocent until proven guilty. You know a lot more. You shared some of those things with me, but you didn't go into the full detail. So I'll turn it over to you, man.
Bring up my X post if you don't mind, Bills.
Your X post?
Yeah. Somebody posted on X regarding this article from Drama Alert. And I said, I'm all for protecting men when falsely accused, but right here, bro, where do I begin? Anyone that knows how he moves with Gal can tell you he moved too thirsty. Got a story about him in the UK club with a girl. I'm not surprised. Hashtag no Philly.
No Philly.
So listen, man, I have no hate for Philly at all. I think he did well for himself and his career. Yes.
And then like a lot of those like other like big YouTubers, why haven't any of them come out to defend him? That's my question.
Sound familiar? Diddy. Who's defending Diddy? Nobody. But why is that though? Could it be true? And I was with a YouTuber as well, and Tropstar, shout out to them. We're wearing their merch right now. And we went to a club, a club in the UK. Now, so we are going to the club, and good time, good vibes. People are saying, "Yo, Fresh, good to see you, bro. Love your show, showing love." And we're like 5 girls, a couple baddies.
Were the other YouTubers there?
Yes, yeah.
Who else was there?
Bro, yo, bro. This nigga, bro.
They didn't do nothing wrong. They're just there with you.
They don't want to be involved, bro.
All right.
This is what.
All right. This dude Fresh is the worst storyteller, bro.
No, it's because I'm protecting their brand, bro. Like,
okay, all right.
You just said earlier they don't want to be seen with us. So why are you telling the people who they are? You want this nigga, bro?
Well, I didn't know if they were worried about.
Yes, they were worried about.
Oh, so they're normie people too.
I'm not saying their names.
Okay, all right.
Anyhow, so we go up with some YouTubers, man. They're showing us love, buying bottles too. I'm supporting as well. Show Tropstar as well, supporting. And there's some baddies at the table. A couple baddies. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna lie. I didn't see any baddies in the streets, but in the club there were some baddies in the UK.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, we're there having a great time. The club is closing in like 30 minutes or so. Out of the blue, this guy pops up. I'm like, who's this nigga? Talking to the girls, touchy-feely. I'm just like, did someone invite this nigga? Mind you, I don't know who he is.
Okay, you didn't know.
I didn't know who he was.
Didn't know who he was at that time.
Yeah. So then the girl next to me that's also a YouTuber was like, yeah, well, that's so-and-so. He's a popular YouTuber here in the UK. I was, oh, okay, cool. Maybe he knows the girls, whatever. Mind you, he didn't know most of the girls there. He just knew one of them that I was talking to, which is fine. And we're chilling, vibing, whatever. Remember, I said the club closing in like 30 minutes. He comes at the very end of the night at a club, and he's there at the table. I'm like, who's this guy, whatever. So then he's talking to most girls at the table, and the one I'm talking to, he takes particular interest into. So he's like talking to her, touching her, whatever. She's looking at me like, yo, like, what you trying to do? I'm like, listen, do your thing, because I'm not gonna, force it, whatever. So then I'm talking to the YouTuber girl, and she's like, yo, listen, like, I know she wants to go home with you, so I'm gonna.
because that was her friend, right?
Yeah, so I'm gonna talk to her, because I can tell he's being very pushy, which hence is Young Philly. The nigga's like thirsty, bro. Like, when I say like overly thirsty, is like grabbing her, trying to pull her to the car, take away from her friend. This is like, bro, do your thing. I'm not gonna stop you because, hey, that's only your brother. She's a grown woman. You're a grown man. Do what you gotta do. But it was like.
Was he like drunk?
People could say he was. I don't know. They could see he was very like.
But he came at the end.
Very end, yeah. So I'm like, listen.
Did you know who you were? Did he even introduce himself or anything?
We spoke for a little bit. And I say, yo, listen, bro.
Did he say what's up? Like,
well, she introduced us together, the YouTuber girl, and we spoke for like maybe like 5 minutes. I gave my Instagram, he gave me his. We follow each other, and then we DM each other like the next day. But in real time, bro, I'm like, nigga, you see me with Shorty, like, are you good?
oh, he saw you with her.
Yeah, for real.
And he still was.
So I'm like, listen, bro, this is your city, bro.
Okay, that changes things a lot.
Yeah.
So he literally he walks in, he sees you talking to her.
Yeah.
And you're with her.
But she's dancing with me.
And he still goes and tries to grab her.
Yeah. Mind you, I'm like circling the club.
That's
talking,
important detail,
talking
Fresh.
different girls at the same time. So I'm like doing my thing. But nonetheless, I'm there like, you know what? I'm forcing it. Hey, bro, if you take her, cool. Mind you, the whole time her friend's like, yo, no, she likes you a lot. She told me this before. She's going to come to your hotel, whatever. Don't worry. So we walk outside of the club, and we're just there chilling. I kid you not, bro. The nigga's pulling the girl to the car, like pulling her, legit pulling her. And I'm like, I'm going to the hotel. And her friends are like, yo, this is crazy. Like, what's happening? Somebody go get her. She's like, where are you guys going? Like, why is he pulling me this way? I'm like, I'm out of here.
So you're with her friend.
Yeah. But I leave, right? I leave and go to a hotel. I just leave. Because remember, that was a scenario there that's happening. Like, he's pulling her to his car.
This is the last time we were in London, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I'm
just like, bro.
You guys know I hate nightclubs.
I don't want to be involved with this because I can see where this is going if it gets to that point. And then, like, if that whatever happens. So I leave. I go to my hotel. I get a text saying, yo, listen, I'm dropping her off to you right now, which is the YouTuber girl that told me she's coming.
Okay, so she grabbed her from him.
Yeah. And then I asked her, so what happened? You didn't want to go home, boy? Oh, no, this and that. He was being pushy, whatever. But I want to go home with you. I just didn't want to, like, make a scene. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. And then that was it. Kind of find out, I called the other YouTuber girl later on. She told me the full story of what happened that night. We're like, I don't know if he was on, I don't know what he was on, bro. He just like heavily thirsty for that girl and he wanted to smash by any means possible. So I was like, oh shit, this is how this thing moves. She's like, yeah, everyone knows. So that's when I heard the story. I'm like, I'm not surprised because I've seen it myself and I've heard from other people the same thing. And if you recognize, everyone on YouTube, bro, is saying the same thing like, oh, this guy is like this and that. I'm not surprised. Why is that? Everyone has the same story about this guy. Arrogant, entitled, thirsty. And I'm like, bro, you got money, status, you're successful. You don't need to be thirsty, bro. Like, you can get bitches all day. Like, you just pull up, bro. Young Philly's here. They'll come to you. Why you gotta be so aggressive? It's like, for what? So in short, my experience with Homeboy wasn't.
That is weird though.
the
Like
best.
he goes into the club and he sees her dancing with her and talking to her, and he still like makes a move to like try to pull her.
Yeah,
Which is kind of weird.
No, mind you, I don't hate the guy at all. Like, there's no hate, but it's like I can see.
You just thought that was weird behavior, right?
I can see that like
that is weird.
it's weird you did that, and it's like you don't even know me. What if I was like one of those like jealous people that want to fight you?
Yeah.
I'm like, bro,
you're right.
go do your thing, bro. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, he's lucky that you're not like a simp or some shit. Like I'm gonna, because there's dudes that like fight over girls, bro. So
And I didn't even know who he was. So when I say like this is not surprising, is because everyone I know from the UK that deals with him maybe on a first basis, says the same shit. So I'm not surprised, bro.
Chat, if you go into a situation like that and the dude is like in the club and there's a girl that he's like dancing with or talking to that you like the least you could do is be like, hey bro, and you see him talking to other girls, hey, is that your chick? Hey, I don't want to be a dick, like, is it cool if I talk to her? Like, he didn't even give you that courtesy if you want to do that. If you even want to do that, which I don't think you should. But if you do want to do that, it's like, bro, trust me, like, you'll be surprised. You get more bees with honey than vinegar. Bro, like, if you did that, like, dudes will be like, oh yeah, take her, I got other girls here. A lot of times.
I already met all the girls there. Yo, this is my boy Philly. Top in with him.
Exactly.
I would have been glad to say, you know what? It's my boy. He's a YouTuber too as well. Go check him out.
But instead, he was like being aggressive, kept grabbing her, pulling her, this type of shit. Wow.
Now, mind you,
damn.
I'm of the opinion that, like, if I'm in the club where my boys are at a table that I don't know, I'm gonna ask you, bro, who you with? Just to be safe, because, bro, I don't know the scenario, you know, the situation, because let's say that's your girl. I go talk to her, nigga. It looks weird.
Oh yeah, because he came to the table later, right? He didn't know. He didn't know anybody there.
It was me and 2 other guys, and then beer gal. That was it. So 3 guys and like 8 girls.
Who did he know there?
The YouTuber girl.
Nigga, just Cheyenne. He knew Cheyenne. All right. Nigga, come on, man.
Myron, you gotta stop, bro.
Bro,
because this nigga, bro. I'm not trying to put names in this, bro. Like, what's wrong with you, dude? Like, come on, man.
But whatever, man. It ain't that big a deal.
Anyhow, long story short, man, that went down, and I just left it. I was like, you know what? It's what it is. I ain't gonna talk bad about homie. I'm just gonna drop it, and maybe in future we could do a collab, maybe. But that was just kind of a dig in the wrong way in my direction. I felt like he kind of like didn't give a fuck, and that was wrong of him. Then again, entitlement, pushing it. So that's my story with young Philly, man. And listen, I don't hate the guy at all. I just think he was a little aggressive and a little bit pushy. But again, you know, maybe that's his
trying
thing.
to jog her to a car is wild, though.
Huh?
I said trying to jog her to a car is wild.
Bro.
Friend had to rescue her.
And crazy wild. So that's the story, man. But then again, with these current charges, man, bro, it's tough.
You guys might be wondering why I wasn't there. I wasn't there because I was pissed off because she brought a fat friend. And I got mad. And I left. I went home. It's already been addressed on Twitter. Fuck it. She tried to say some shit about this on Twitter. So everybody knows.
Well, she bought you a baddie. But you were too turned off.
I was pissed. She brought the fucking beluga whale. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
She had a baddie at the club ready for you, but you didn't want to come.
Hey, man. Fuck the club, bro. I was already pissed.
But, again, the story came out, and I already know people's opinions because we know how he moves behind the scenes. Because on camera, he's one way. But off camera, he's like, bro, like, this is not...
Nigga said some dude took your girl. Are you guys stupid? She didn't. He didn't take the girl. Is the whole point of the story. For you idiots in here that are saying that he took the girl.
Yeah,
He didn't take. That's literally the point of the story is that he didn't take the girl, though he tried through an aggressive means.
Listen, guys,
fuck, man.
I'm not gonna fight over a girl, bro. Like, fuck that shit.
They literally physically pulled her out. Like, what did you get? Do you guys miss part of the story?
It's not my city. I'm not gonna fight for a girl that's not even in my city that like I don't even know that well. Like, if he wants her, bro, take her, bro. I'm not. Dude, there's so many girls at the table. Why am I going to fight for one girl? So, that happened.
And even more so, she told her friend to drop her off to you.
And she did. But I think, even though this happened, he should be given a fair trial. To be fair, the girls could be lying in this whole allegation. We don't know what's happening. We didn't see the photos or the CCTV. He should be given a fair trial. But from my experience, for what I've seen and what I've heard from other creators as well, this nigga was mad. Bills, play the clip with Chunks. So his own homeboy Chunks was asked the question, would you let your boy date your cousin, which is Philly? So would you let Philly date your cousin?
Okay.
Here's his response.
This is him right here? This one?
No, next one. Next one? Yeah, this one here.
This one right here?
Yeah.
My family, but yeah.
Why? I'm a good man.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me?
No, I have too many stories. Anyway, yeah.
What stories?
Huh? Bend to the left. That's very scary.
Yeah, but what's that got to do with you when I'm clarting? You've just got to worry about I'm treating your sibling good.
My family, but yeah.
Why?
What the fuck?
So you get it?
This nigga wearing a wave cap with the thing hanging down like he's Batman?
That's the UK.
Bro, what the fuck is going on with these British niggas,
That's the man, them.
Bro, These niggas be wearing the Nike tracksuits and the fucking do-rag with the shit hanging down, man. What the fuck is wrong with these British niggas, man?
That's how they move, man.
What the fuck, man? You can't catch me dead with a fucking do-rag on in public, bro. And I actually have waves. And I would, you guys would never fuck catch me with that shit, man. That's fucking crazy.
Wait, why
I got waves too, man.
Why not?
Bruh, no, fuck no. Fuck do I look like?
Shit shining.
Jamal? No, man.
Tyrone.
Fucking low-class behavior, man. Holy shit, man.
But to keep it real though, he should be given a fair trial, and hopefully he's innocent. If not, then bro, you cooked. You were cooked, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, though the American justice system and the Australian one are different. They have some similarities, right? Guilty until proven innocent, and you got to be found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt to some degree, right?
Yeah.
And it's still common law. So we'll see what happens, man. That's crazy.
Because we've seen cases where the girls like Chris Brown.
Yeah.
That baseball player, forgot his name.
Yeah.
The one that was accused of whatever and it was all a lie.
Yeah.
The politician, forgot his name too as well. But people are always accused if they're famous or about to be somebody important. And it's crazy because
Well, what you saw, I guess, was just shocking.
yeah, it's almost like if like I saw his true colors and it's like, bro, like, why are you being like this? Like, it's
There's no
uncalled
need,
for.
right?
There's
Yeah.
hella girls here.
You were just shocked by like the
You just met me. Like it ain't no bad blood. It's like, all right, cool. Well, do your thing, bro. I ain't mad at you. You know. So
Did he tell the girl something like, "Oh, come with me, fuck him," or some shit like that too?
he was basically saying like, yo, like
I don't know who he was when you told me the story.
he was trying to like bad talk me to her to like make her like choose him over me. Which, to be fair, bro, I don't give a fuck.
That's just low value
I met
behavior,
her
man.
that night, so it was like, yo, it was like,
Yeah, but that's just low value behavior. That's weird, man. Especially since like he came into the section like it wasn't his. So for him to come in and behave that way is kind of like.
But that's the entitlement people talk about when they meet him.
Gotcha.
He's being entitled, arrogant, cocky. Let's be humble,
He's been
man.
famous since he was 18, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Worst you could do is be famous when you're a young man. It's literally the worst thing that could happen to you.
Ever scroll through social media and get that feeling? Like everyone's got it figured out except you. Everyone's living their best life online. But what about what's going on when the cameras are off, right?
It's easy to forget there's a whole other side to the story.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today. This whole idea of online personas versus, well, reality.
And the gap between those two can be pretty telling.
That's an understatement. So our case study today, two big YouTubers, one international collab gone wrong. We're talking about the Fresh and Fit podcast host, you know, the dating advice guys.
Oh, yeah. If I've seen their stuff.
They flew out to London to work with young Philly. He's huge over in the UK. Super positive, fun-loving image. But things took a turn, and it all went down off camera.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what happened? Give me the rundown.
So picture this. London, Fresh and Fit guys are hyped. Young Philly's their guide to all the cool spots.
Sounds like a good time so far.
Right. They're filming a podcast episode. Everyone's laughing. The energy's high. Total collab goals, at least from the outside looking in.
Okay, so then what changed? There's got to be more to it.
Oh, there is, because you've got this public persona thing happening, right? Everyone's on when the cameras are rolling, but then after party.
Okay, so that's where we see what's really good.
Exactly. And this wasn't just any after party. We're talking swanky London townhouse, exclusive guest list, the whole 9 yards. And our sources say that's when young Philly's behavior started to shift.
Shift how so? Like, what are we talking about here?
So there's this woman at the party, and it's not like he's all over her romantically, but there's this possessiveness, like little jokes when she talked to other people, almost cutting her off, that kind of vibe.
Subtle but controlling. Yeah, I've seen that before. It's like he's trying to manage her interactions, even in a social setting.
And our sources say it escalated as the night went on.
And that escalation is what really sets off alarm bells.
Yeah.
You know, because 1 minute, it's a few possessive jokes. Next thing you know, we'll get into that.
So we left off at this party, right? And things are getting weird. And our sources say this other guy at the party, he starts chatting with this woman young Philly's with. And that's when things go from 0 to 100 real quick. Like it flipped a switch.
And this is what we were talking about a minute ago, right? This is that escalation.
Exactly. Like it wasn't just a vibe anymore.
Yeah.
Our sources say he gets visibly angry, like whatever cool guy act he had going on just vanished. And it gets worse because remember, this is all going down in front of everyone.
Which adds a whole other layer of messed up to it, right? Like you're putting someone on blast in front of a crowd. That's humiliating.
And it's intentional. Our sources use the word aggressive to describe his behavior. Like he actually grabs her arm when she tries to walk away.
See, that's not okay.
Yeah.
That's crossing a line from you know, maybe being a little jealous, to straight up trying to control someone with physical force.
And the thing is, it's like he's proving everyone right who was feeling uneasy earlier. You know what I mean? Like all those subtle possessive vibes suddenly make sense in a really bad way.
Right, it's like that saying, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. We often ignore those early warning signs, but this is why recognizing them is so important.
So what happens next? Well, she tries to leave, right? Wants to get out of there, which is the smart thing to do. But our sources say that's when he completely loses it, starts yelling at her in front of everyone, accusing her of being disloyal, trying to make her feel bad for her, wanting to leave.
Classic manipulation tactic. You see this a lot with abusers. They try to isolate their victim, make them feel like they need them, you know. And when the victim tries to break free, that's when the abuser really panics and turns up the heat.
It's like he wanted to punish her for embarrassing him or something.
It's all about power and control. He wants to be seen a certain way, and her trying to leave disrupts that image. So he lashes out to try and regain control.
It's just sad, honestly. The whole situation is a mess. So the woman finally gets out of there, but the party's over. The fresh and fit host is like seriously disturbed by what he saw, and young Philly, well, he leaves with his friends, still fuming.
Which again tells you everything you need to know.
Right.
This isn't a guy who's like, oh man, I messed up. This is someone who's doubling down on the anger even after the fact.
So you've got this whole scene, right? Like you'd think this would be where it goes full-blown internet drama.
Oh yeah, totally. Someone leaks what happened, it's all over Twitter. Everyone's choosing sides, chaos.
Right, but that's not what happened. The fresh and fit host, he actually decides to talk about it, but he does it in a way that I think is worth noting.
Okay, how so? Like, what does he say?
So he goes on his podcast and he talks about the incident, right?
Yeah.
But he's not trying to cancel young Philly or anything. It's more like he's using it as a cautionary tale.
Interesting, because he could have just ignored it, you know, pretended it didn't happen.
For sure, and that's what most people probably would have done. But he uses the opportunity to talk about this bigger issue of online personas versus real life.
Which is such an important conversation to have, right? Because we're all so quick to judge based on these curated snippets of someone's life.
And he talks about how the whole thing made him rethink who he chooses to collaborate with. You know, like it made him more aware of the fact that you don't really know someone just from their online presence.
Absolutely. We all need to be more discerning about who we let influence us, especially online, where it's so easy to create a carefully crafted persona.
Totally. So he's basically saying, hey, I got caught up in this too. I'm not immune to it, which I think is really refreshing.
It's a good reminder for all of us that we're all human. We all make mistakes, and just because someone has a certain image online doesn't mean that's who they really are.
Exactly. So what's the takeaway here for our listeners? Like, what can we learn from this whole situation?
Don't just follow blindly. Be critical. Think for yourselves. And remember, there's a real person behind that screen. Someone with good days and bad days, just like you.
It's like what they say, right? Don't meet your heroes. Or at least take everything you see online with a grain of salt. Because you never really know what's going on behind the scenes. And sometimes the truth is a lot uglier than the highlight reel.
I'd just like to take this time to apologize to young Philly, to apologize to any of his friends, his family, anyone associated with him. And I would also like to apologize to any rappers in the UK who has seen this and has been affected and now feel some type of way about us females in Australia. I deeply apologize. We are not like that. There are certain individuals that like to take things too far, and it gives the rest of us a bad name. I truly and sincerely apologize to all of you guys, and on behalf of everyone in Australia that has sense, we are sorry. So the media is concealing who this female is. So everyone's like, who is this mysterious female? This mysterious female is Miss Emma Burns, the one and only stripper and sex worker. Round of applause for Miss Emma Burns. Ya sharmuta. So, why am I so annoyed? It's because Emma Burns' friends have come out and they have exposed her. Emma went to the hotel with young Philly and they both had a mutual agreement. When you have a mutual agreement, babes, it's consensual. So there's no rape. It is consensual. Yes, if they, take it a bit further and stuff, then okay, yeah, it is a bit too much and charges can be pressed. But it was a mutual agreement. Emma Burns had then texted her friends and one of her friends, and told her friend how much of a good time she really had and that she was ready to go home. Could her friend book her an Uber? Remember that. Her friend should book her the Uber, but she's a stripper. Please remember these two things, okay? Because we're going to be very logic here. Her friend should book her the Uber. When her friend was going to book her the Uber, she then told her friend, oh, actually, I don't need it anymore. That doesn't sound like someone who's being sexually assaulted, Emma. That sounds like someone who's having a goddamn good time. A goddamn good time. Because if you were being sexually assaulted, you are in a hotel where there are hundreds of people on the same level. You could scream. You could text a friend because it seems your phone was working really fine, Miss Mams. You could run down to reception and tell reception to call the police if your life was at any danger or there was any threat of your safety. Those are three things you could have done. Screaming would have probably been the best one, because I can guarantee you there would have been someone next door, because we know how hotels in Australia is booked, packed and busy. Okay. Emma, you are a sex worker. You are also a stripper. There is nothing wrong with that, because if I could shake my ass and get a little coin, I will too. So I am not bashing you for that in any way, shape or form, Emma. But it's pretty obvious your stripping career isn't taking you anywhere. The fact that you have to ask your friend to book you an Uber. Now, WA. I'm not from WA, but currently I am in Western Australia. Western Australia is not like other states in Australia. Example, Sydney. To get a 30-minute ride on an Uber could cost you about $80. In Western Australia, when I do book Ubers, somewhere that's 30 minutes away, it can cost me $15 to $20. An Uber is not that expensive. So clearly, sweetheart, your stripping career isn't going the way you thought it would go. So, because it's not going that way, you now want to use young Philly for funds. And you knew what you were doing. But you're not going to get away lightly with this one. Emma Burns has also done this to another rapper before. Sorry, she has tried to do this to another rapper. I don't know if he's a rapper or a musician. Bryson Tyler, I don't really know who he is. But she has tried to do this to someone else before, and it was unsuccessful. But now she thinks she has hit the jackpot with young Philly. So everyone going around the media talking about this young Philly, they need to stop. They need to stop. Because this guy is genuinely innocent. Her friends have come out and said what she did. She knew what she was doing. So I understand people are like, oh, you know, don't victim shame, don't victim blame. As someone who has been through something like that myself as a child, I will never sit there and back the predator, ever. But this generation, you guys take it too far with, you have to believe the females. Because of that, you know, that saying that you guys are putting out there, that you have to believe the females are taking the piss, and innocent men are being blamed for things that they genuinely have not done. Now, people are going to say, oh, but what about the assault charges? Let's be for real. Those assault charges came from him choking her. We are all grown on this app. Well, I hope we are all grown. Some females, including myself, and I'm sure some of you guys watching this, we get choked during sex. We get some other foul things during sex. We may not think it's foul. We find it attractive. Some other people are not necessarily into those things. Emma is clearly into that. But now it's become an issue. This is wrong. You guys need to stop enabling females who think it's okay to ruin people's lives. It is not okay. You knew the agreement when you were going into that hotel. You knew what you were there to do. You knew the man didn't want anything with you after. How is it possible that he would want anything after that? He is from the United Kingdom. He was here to perform and go back to his everyday life. But instead, you have ruined that for him. I'm not saying young Phil is a broke person. I don't know what his funds are like. Now he's stuck in a country that's foreign to him till December. He has to pay for accommodation. He has to pay a lot of things. When you're a foreigner in a country, it can be expensive. He's out of pocket because of you. Now he has legal fees to pay for. That's not fair. And we should not be enabling females that do this. And these other TikTokers that are on live bashing this man, that's not right. That's not right. That is wrong. And you are foul. That is wrong. I'm not saying because she's a sex worker and she's a stripper that, oh, you know, like, yeah, it can possibly happen. Of course it can happen. Just because someone's a sex worker and a stripper, it doesn't mean that they can't be assaulted. They, of course, can be sexually assaulted. But when you consent to something and you and someone have agreed to it and you guys have done just as what you guys have agreed to, it is not sexual assault, Emma Burns. So this needs to stop. I don't know who Young Philly is. If you ask me, name one Philly song, I couldn't even tell you. I'll probably sing something else from the UK. I don't know Young Philly. But free Young Philly. And Australia, you guys need to get it the fuck together because this is wrong. This is foul. Now, we wonder why a lot of musicians don't want to come here. We wonder why. We wonder why when Davido came here, he was kicking a certain nationality of people out of his boots. It's because these people get paranoid. Now, good luck to people wanting to come here for Promised Land next year. Now, you guys wonder why your favorite celebrities are so stuck up. It's because of people like Emma Burns. We need to get it together. This is wrong, what's happening to this man. And watching his name get dragged through the mud on TikTok is disgusting. And for you people that think it's okay, get it together. If you see a photo of Emma, I'm not even being rude. Me, I'm not a 10 out of 10 myself. I'm probably a 1 out of 10. And it's okay. I'm fine with that. Young Philly, not the most attractive himself, but not a bad looking person. But Emma, you long titty dingback water built buffalo bad sloppy body built girl. You. Babes, get it together. Get it the F together because your own friends are not supporting the rubbish and the nonsense you are doing. You are foul. You are foul and you should be ashamed of yourself. Go back to stripping on the pole and actually do something. Do a little trick or two to make some money, but not trapping. Not trapping is not the word, but lying on an innocent black man, bitch, you're foul.
All right, so we're diving into this whole Young Philly situation, and let me tell you, it's a doozy. Accusations flying around, social media blowing up, even some international drama sprinkled in. You ready to unpack this?
It's definitely one for the books, and it goes way beyond just a typical he said, she said situation. We're talking about how fast narratives can change online these days and the real world consequences, especially with how power dynamics and, money can get wrapped up in it all.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so we've got Young Philly, UK entertainer. Things are going pretty well for him. Then you have Emma Burns, an Australian stripper, and she's making some serious allegations against him. Now, normally, this is where we'd kind of take a step back, wait for more info, right? But then, enter the curveball. This TikTok expose drops, claiming to have all the answers.
Right, and the source of this expose is kind of a big deal. It's not like a journalist digging into this or official investigation. It's coming from someone saying they've got the inside scoop on the entertainment industry, claiming they're the one with the real story, which, immediately raises some red flags about, are they being legit here? What's their angle?
Totally, and they really don't hold back. They're saying Emma Burns, she's just in it for the money, even implying this isn't the first time she's pulled something like this. They bring up a past situation with, I think it was Bryson Tiller, the American singer. Like, it's a pattern.
Yeah, and get this. They back up their claims with what they're calling evidence. Screenshots of messages, documents they say are from that Tiller case, even interviews to support their whole narrative. They paint this picture of Burns as someone who sees accusing famous men as like a way to cash in, manipulating public opinion for her own benefit.
It's crazy, right? And it keeps going. They then claim Burns chose to target Young Philly when his career was really taking off, knowing that would make the biggest impact. Then they bring up these other women who supposedly back up these claims about Burns being manipulative. It's like they're just piling on at this point.
And the thing is, they're presenting themselves as this, warrior for truth, right?
Yep.
Using the supposed insider knowledge to expose some big conspiracy. And they're tapping into this genuine concern about false accusations, but then they're using the same online world that often fuels those fires to do it. Kind of a head scratcher when you think about it.
It really makes you stop and think, okay, just when you think it can't get any wilder, this expose takes another turn. They start showing what they claim are Burns' own posts and messages from social media, where she's basically bragging about how easy it is to manipulate the system. Sounds like something straight out of a movie, right?
I know, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly where things get dangerous. In this digital age, public opinion can completely flip based on a good story, especially with how easily things spread online. But here's the catch. None of these accusations in this expose, they haven't been proven in court. You know, it's just one side of the story, carefully chosen and edited, probably taken out of context.
So where do we even go from here? Should we just ignore those initial accusations against young Philly?
No, not at all. This is messy, and there could be serious repercussions for everyone involved. This TikTok expose throws a wrench in things, but it doesn't mean a proper investigation isn't needed. We've got to let the legal system do its thing, find out all the facts, hear different sides, and not just assume things based on what we see online, you know?
I hear that.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, how often does this happen? How many accusations get blown up online without the full story, all the details that get lost in the rush to be the first to share something? It's a good reminder to really think critically about what we're seeing, especially online, especially when someone might be trying to control the narrative for their own benefit.
This whole thing really highlights a trend we're seeing more and more.
Yeah.
Social media becoming a battleground for these kinds of accusations, counter-accusations, everyone trying to win over the public. And it makes you wonder, has public opinion, driven by how fast things move online, become too powerful? Well, it's something to think about as we try to navigate this whole digital world, that's for sure.
Hey bro, I got an update from Australia. You're gonna wanna hear this one, my guy. Someone from Perth hit me up, and imagine he showed me the girl. You see this girl? I'm not gonna post her picture. Because of legal reasons, bro. I am not a dickhead. I'm a bit of a prick. Anyways, so this girl, bro. First of all, let me just say something, yeah? Get this out of the way. I'm gonna say it as nice as possible. You know, for a while, I've seen on social media that black men and a certain type of female, it always ends up wrong. I never knew about this. I've seen it recently, and now seeing this is like, whoa. You're probably getting the gist of what I'm saying. Now let me read this. So this guy's friend told him that this girl tried to do this to Bryson Tiller when he came to Perth as well, and they didn't follow through because there wasn't enough evidence. I was like, what? So Philly being set up? Yeah, bro. I was like, damn, we gotta free him up, bro. That's why you would want to know. Oh yeah, because no one knows about this, bro. No one's saying this anyways. Because I'll be real, my guy. You know him as a real guy. I used to watch Philly. You know when he was coming up, I used to fuck with him. I don't know where it is. Maybe it's that same thing, you know, when a person blows and then they change. In my eyes. But anyways, bro, this is real shit straight out of Perth, my guy. You know, man's international now. Obviously, if you want the picture, stay tuned in. Someone is bound to release it. Then obviously we can as well. You take care. I'll keep you updated. Make sure you're following.
What's going on, my brothers and sisters, man? It's your boy, Minnie, man. I woke up this morning and I was thinking something. I was literally thinking something. And I thought, let me go on the internet and have a little quick scroll. Clicking on stories, and the stories was just rolling. And I came across Tricky's one, and Tricky said this. I'm reading it. I'm like, this is exactly what I'm fucking thinking again. I was thinking the same thing when Wiley had his situation. Everyone just disappeared, just left the man. And now I'm thinking the same thing again. All right, it's Tricky. What Tricky's saying, you know, where's my man's brethrens? Where's his brethrens? All you man all make all these happy podcasts, all happy. Bear, every podcast is grinning teeth. You know, young Philly's got that exaggerated laugh. Bare exaggeration going on. Good times, not about good times with you guys, yeah? Where are you lot now your brother needs you? Listen, you see me. I'm a kind of person. Fuck me. Let's look at it like this, yeah? You have a brother, your own, this is your brother, eh? Someone that you've made money with, eh? Someone you guys came in the game with. If anybody knows this guy, it is you guys, eh? You're allowing the media, all these internet people to crucify your brother, and you know him. You know him. You've been with him all these years. So even if he wasn't there, it's like, I don't, if my brother went away and he slept with a girl and the girl was screaming rape, nah, I know my brother, I know him well enough to be on his side, like, nah. My brother wouldn't do that. I've known my brother all these years, and I just know he wouldn't do that. There must be something else to it, because it doesn't make no sense for for my brother. This is for all of us. If your brother was in a situation and the girl said, yeah, no, you're gonna have to prove that, because I'm gonna fight my brother's call until the end. I don't believe it. I know him. And same with me. Like, some things have to make sense. This is your friend, Chunks. This is your friend. All these other brothers, Harry Pinero, whatever your name is, this is your friend. If the Fed, who's not even on my side, can know me well enough to know that doesn't make no sense for Minnie, we're going to throw the case out. Even though they're trying to point the fingers and this guy's trying to really make it look like him, we're going to throw that case out. This is your friend. Why are you not standing up for your friend? I tell you why you're not standing up for your friend. Because we say it's a brotherhood, but it's not really a brotherhood. Oh yeah, this is my brother, It's not really your brother. When shit hits the fan, it's not really your brother, because when shit gets sticky, it's like, you know, when it's real brothers and sisters, it's the level of putting your neck on the line. It shows. It's, for example, when Dutchavelli was going through what he was going through, Steph London put her neck on the line for him. She came through, and you see her arguing with people, because that's her real blood. It's like, nah, like, fuck, I'm risking my shit for my brother. Like, I know my brother, and she put her neck on the line. That is that's being real. That's why you have to congratulate Steffi, because she's like, fuck this shit. My brother, that's my brother. She put her, regardless of what you are saying, regardless of what you think you can prove, she's like, no, I know my brother enough to say that's not him. And I'm putting my neck on the line for my brother. That's what's real. You using the term brother, that's my brothers. Now it's time to show brotherly love. Where are you? Nowhere. Shall I tell you why? Because I swear this year, you're all prisoners. You flipping industry niggas are all prisoners. Every one of you. Everyone that makes money from this industry, and that's the only way they make money, because it's not for you guys. DJs, TV people, podcast people, some of you get, the higher up you go, the more of an industry guy you are. So that's all you have. That's all you have. The last thing you need to do, the last thing you want to do is attach yourself to someone, even though he's your brethren. You have to disassociate yourself from your own friend, because you're shit scared that you're going to pop down yourself, because you need this industry. You really need them. All this self-made talk, I don't want to hear no self-made talk, because once these people start pulling pulling the plug, yeah, I see Marks and Spencer's pulled the plug on Young Philly. Once all these people start pulling the plug, it's done. Then it was self-made. You see, this is why it gets scary, because we all gravitate, we all want to be in that position. By being in that position, we surrender our freedom. We surrender our you know what I mean? We surrender our right to be able to speak our truth. That man can't speak their truth. Even if they wanted to speak their truth, Harry Pinero, Chunks, they can't speak their truth. If they could, they would. Chunks would be online going mad right now. You mad? I don't think he did it. They'll all be going mad, but they can't. Do you get it? They can't, because if they do, the brands, the same way Marks and Spencer's and all these little JD Sports deals are gone from Young Philly, is the exact same thing that's going to happen for these men. These men don't want that smoke, and they don't like him enough. They don't love him enough to risk their bag for him. So it's like, nah, I'd rather to hold on to my thing. I'd rather sacrifice you. You gotta go and deal with that shit yourself. If you go jail, then you gotta go jail. Cause I'm not sacrificing my back. It's not like Steph London when she says, that's my brother, I'm sacrificing. Nah. Steph London's ready to do her thing, ready to put up a fight for her brother. These niggas can't do that, because the love is not as strong. Cause it's not real love. It's not real love. It's not real love. It's not real. It's really, really not real love. You know, and I guarantee if it happened to any one of them, has them pulling Harry Pinero in it now, if Harry Pinero gets dragged into it, no one's going to say nothing for him. No one's going to say, none of his mates are going to say anything. But you see, at this level here, you know why I love this level here? I dare them to say anything about one of my bridges. I'm all over the net all day long. I dare them. Listen, if this was before these niggas blew up, before they got the bag and they just regular internet YouTube brothers trying to break the internet, I guarantee you, Chunks and these brothers will all have videos going mad. Like, no, he wouldn't have done it, but they can't do that now. The higher up they go, the more quiet they have to be. They have to. Their man are in prison. They're in prison. Everybody is in prison. These niggas are slaves. Slaves to this system. Slaves. Every one of these motherfuckers. Slaves. Alright? They can't do nothing. It's fucked. Everybody is a slave. Alright? This is the reason why you need motherfuckers like me. You need motherfuckers like me. And we make, people like us make it, we make it from trying to sell some shit. Just put us in a position and just allow us to be able to sell what we want. If I got a book coming out, I don't know, let me sell some shit. But I get it, everybody wants these endorsement deals, these big endorsement deals. But the problem with these big endorsement deals is once the big guy at the top says, nah, we don't like it no more, cut, you're broke. It's finished. Cut, that's it. And once this brother pulls his brand back, once everyone start pulling it, that no one wants to associate themselves with you again. Done. Finito. Finito. That's what comes with being an industry nigga. You look, that's in a rush to be an industry nigga, yeah? Just understand, yeah, the higher you go up, your voice disappears. You ain't got no voice. You ain't got no voice. And if anytime these niggas speak up or these people speak up, it's because they've been told to. It's because they've been told to. They say what they've been told to say. They can't just randomly get up on the net and say something boisterous like I can. No way. I can say what the fuck I want. What you think these are paying me? You think they're paying me? You think I'm depending on Marks and Spencer's to pay my bills? I don't need them. I don't need them. I can say what the fuck I want. You get it? I'm Robin Hood. These niggas are just flipping. It's crazy like that, man. So like, be careful. Be careful for what you wish for, because I know everybody wants to be part of this system and this industry. But once you join that industry thing, you sacrifice your own voice. You sacrifice your own voice. You can't speak up. You can't. None of the DJs, you cannot speak up. Even if you want to, you can't. Zip it. It could be your best friend. Zip it. Let them hang him out. They took the pill. Look at the thing. You know the madness is, yeah? Look how quick they had to cancel my man and take back the Marks and Spencer's sponsors and all of that. Look at that white guy, yeah? They did the same thing with that no clock guy. It's a black man. They just take everything back ASAP when it's a black man. That guy that was on the news, the white guy that was on the news, that guy he kept the job for a duration of time. And once they realized they need to get rid of him, they got rid of him, but he was still receiving pay up until they found him guilty. He was still receiving pay up until the time he got found guilty. How's that? A white guy. Yeah, receiving pay all the way through. Yeah, all the way through. The black guy, you know what I mean? Every time a black guy get in this situation, it's finished. Now, I'm not here to call a race card, but I can see some. I can definitely see some. Ray Charles can see some. Stevie Wonder can see something here. I ain't trying to call a race card here. No. I ain't trying to call a race card here. But something fishy's going on right here. Something fishy. And you know the fucking thing is? This. You see, us black people, it's easier to pull us down because we're quick to crucify ourselves too. We're not black people. We're not really interested in white news. So when that reporter guy does something, it's like there's only a few of us reporting, but we don't really give a fuck to that degree, because we're waiting until one of our brothers to do something, and then as soon as our brothers allegedly do something, that's where our energy's going. That's where our energy's going. Forget the white guy and these other. Nah, forget that. That's for them to do. But as soon as our guy does something, that's where all the energy goes. But the thing is, yeah, them white guys, yeah, the white people and that, they're not really so on the TV presenter. There's only a few of them maybe, but as a whole, not the way us black people are on black people. So once a black person gets himself in the problem, this is what happens. They've got the black people pulling them down, everyone's pulling them down. So it comes down even more quicker. And we find that guy guilty before he's even been found guilty. It's fuckery like that. It's really, really fuckery, and I think it's quite unfair. Shaboy Minute, tell me what you think about this one here. Peace.
Okay, so you send over this article about young Philly, and yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
This is
big.
It seems like his career has taken a real turn.
It has. And I think for good reason.
Yeah. For those who don't know, young Philly is a huge name on social media. Mm-hmm. Known for humor-making videos, really relatable guy.
Yeah, he's carefully crafted this image of being, the funny, approachable guy next door.
Exactly, the whole thing. But this article really pulls back the curtain.
Yeah, it dives right into accusations of misconduct against him. Yeah. And multiple women have come forward.
It's like, whoa.
With some really disturbing allegations.
This is serious stuff now.
Yeah.
And it seems like it all started with just these whispers online, right?
It started with just rumors online, just kind of like
people talking.
Yeah, like, is this true? What's going on here?
And then, and then boom.
I exploded.
One of his ex-girlfriends releases this incredibly emotional video testimony online.
And it just changes everything.
And the article goes into detail about it. Was it emotional?
It was very emotional. And I think without going into, too much detail, we have to understand how serious her claims are.
Yeah.
She's alleging emotional abuse.
Wow.
Physical abuse, manipulation, controlling behavior.
Wow, this is
heavy. And it's not just like she's saying these things happen. She's backing them up with specific situations.
Right.
Which adds this whole other layer of like...
Oh, wow. So it's like, this is...
real.
It's not just like he said, she said.
Exactly.
She's got...
There are receipts.
Receipts.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really important here. The article really emphasizes how damaging these allegations are, especially for somebody like young Philly.
Right.
Who has built his entire career on being this relatable, trustworthy guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's your friend.
Exactly.
And I think what's interesting about this is that this goes beyond, potential legal trouble. Yeah. This cuts to the core of what it means to be an influencer.
Right, because it's all about trust.
Exactly. It's all about trust.
And
when that trust is broken,
yeah,
it sends shockwaves through your entire audience.
Right. And we're not just talking about a few concerned comments here and there.
Yeah.
The article really highlights how brands are reacting, and it's brutal.
Well, it's a bloodbath.
Major names are cutting ties.
Yeah.
Left and right.
Like he's contagious or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it's not just, like small brands or anything.
Right.
We're talking like huge companies. Like there was this one tech company, right?
Okay.
They loved him. They were using him in ad campaigns.
Oh, yeah?
Product launches. Like he was their guy, and now he's gone. Scrubbed from their website, their socials. It's like...
Wow, like he never even existed.
Exactly.
It's wild. And they're not even trying to be quiet about it.
No, they're very loud about it.
Okay.
But it's so interesting how they're doing it,
What do you mean?
They're not just like quietly ending the contracts.
Right.
They're releasing these statements.
Okay.
Very carefully worded, of course.
Yeah.
Expressing their concern and emphasizing their commitment to like...
Right.
respect and integrity and...
Oh, all the buzzwords.
All the buzzwords. It's like they're reading from the same script.
It's true. Deeply concerned, taking these matters seriously.
Exactly.
The whole 9 yards.
And it's just fascinating because it shows you that this is way more than just business now. This is about protecting their image in this age of like social responsibility and...
Where everyone cares about.
Yeah, everyone cares where their products come from.
Yeah.
Who makes them, what the values are behind the brand.
Right, exactly. And so they're like, we got to distance ourselves.
Exactly. And it seems like they're all trying to outdo each other.
I know.
With how seriously they're taking this.
Well, what about that UK sportswear brand?
Oh, yeah.
The one with the huge deal.
The massive one.
The one he was posting about all the time.
Yeah, that was like a really big deal for him.
I know. What are they saying?
Well, they're playing it safe for now.
Okay.
So the article says they've like suspended all activities related to him.
So not a clean break yet.
Not yet.
But they're waiting to see what happens.
Exactly. They're waiting to see which way the wind blows.
Oh, it's brutal. It makes you think twice about wanting to be an influencer.
Right. Well, it makes you think twice about what you do as an influencer because your whole life can change in an instant.
That's true. But here's what I don't get, though.
What's that?
Where is everyone else?
What do you mean?
Like all his friends, his people,
You'd think they'd be coming out in droves to support him.
Exactly.
He's got that huge following, all those friends online, all those collaborators.
Cricket's...
It's
so strange.
It's deafening.
I know. It's like...
It really makes you think.
It does. The article mentions it, too.
It does. And I think the article makes a good point that...
Yeah. This silence speaks volumes.
What do you mean?
Well... It suggests that maybe these rumors about Philly's behavior weren't exactly a secret.
Ooh, you're saying like people knew?
Maybe not everyone, but it's possible that this wasn't a huge shock to some people.
So they're all just like trying to protect themselves now.
Exactly. Damage control.
Wow.
Everyone for themselves.
It's true. And even if this whole thing blows over online, he's still got those legal hurdles to deal with.
This is serious stuff.
Right.
We're talking about domestic abuse allegations.
And those are taken very seriously.
Very serious.
This is not a slap on the wrist kind of situation.
This is life-changing stuff and not in a good way.
And it's not just him, right?
Okay.
The article talks about his management team.
Oh, yeah, his management team.
And how they might have been involved.
Yeah, the article suggests that they knew about some of this behavior.
Oh, wow.
And that they potentially covered things up to protect his image. See, that's what gets me, because it's like, if that's true, are you kidding me?
Right. And that adds a whole other layer to this.
I know.
Because then it's not just him facing the consequences.
It's a whole conspiracy.
It's potentially his whole team.
Wow. So where did he go from here? I mean, his career.
Yeah.
Can he come back from this?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it?
I mean,
I think this whole situation shows just how quickly things can change in the age of social media.
oh, absolutely.
1 minute you're on top of the world, the next minute
Sean,
you're watching your career crumble.
it's brutal. And it's not just him, right?
Right.
This whole thing makes you think about the influencer industry
Absolutely.
as a whole.
It raises some really important questions, I think.
Like, what are these brands doing?
Yeah, what due diligence are they doing?
Are they just looking at follower count?
Exactly. Are they just seeing dollar signs?
Because when they partner with these people, it's like they're saying...
We're giving them a stamp of approval. They're saying, we trust this person.
Yeah.
We align ourselves with their values.
And then when something like this happens, it's like...
It blows up in their face.
Exactly.
And it makes them look bad.
Right, and the audience too.
The audience too.
The people who trusted these brands.
Exactly.
It's a tough situation all around.
It really is. And I think it also makes you think about power.
Okay.
You know, these influencers, they have so much power.
They do millions of followers.
Millions of people hanging on their every word.
It's crazy.
And it's easy to see how some of them might
Get lost.
get a little lost along the way.
Lose sight of what's important.
Exactly. Lose sight of the fact that
That they're real people.
they're real people with real responsibilities.
Right, and that their actions have real consequences.
And that, you know, just because you're funny or entertaining online
Yeah.
doesn't give you a free pass to
Behave however you want.
Exactly.
Wow, it's a lot to think about.
It's a really complex issue.
It really is. And it makes you question, you know,
Yeah.
this whole influencer culture.
The price of fame.
Yeah, where do we draw the line?
Exactly. What are we willing to accept?
It's definitely something to ponder.